Good evening and welcome. Soul Session with Sin, Part 2, with my special guest, Matthew Vasquez, aka Chef Matthew.
Hello.
How you doing today, Matt?
Great. I am in a great mood. I'm in good spirits.
You're in good spirits?
Good vacation I just came back from, so nothing could get me down.
Well, that's good. I love that. Welcome, beautiful people, for joining. Thank you. Both my cousins are in here. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Jess. I would love to pin the comment, but I don't know if it lets me. Let me see if I could add you on here. Did I spell that right? And then add you.
Could you?
We're gonna see.
This is my first time.
Chef? No, it's not that anymore.
No.
I can't even see that's the thing. It doesn't let you.
Yeah, it doesn't let you see what you're typing.
Sorry, guys. 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, that's not working. Hi, Sin. So Matthew's my special guest tonight on Soul Sessions. And I just wanted to get into a little bit. We're going to get into his near-death experience. This is someone that actually survived something pretty horrific, if you ask me. And I always say, if you're still here, you still have something to do. You still have purpose. You still have to find your way. And I always speak about that on Café con Sin. But I wanted to touch briefly on how you and I met.
Okay.
And what was funny is that I got a reading myself with my mentor, Justin, who told me in that reading that my daughter was going to actually meet someone and connect with them, and there was going to be a lot of life lessons, a lot of karmic lessons to learn. And I would say that's true.
Absolutely. That guy was 100% spot on, to be honest.
And so he told me about Matt before we even knew who Matt was. We didn't even... Thank you, Eve. I saw that comment. I had to say thank you. We knew nothing. We didn't know who Matt was. We didn't know where he came from.
Right.
But eventually, he did come out in that reading. And he did eventually connect with Jade, with my daughter. And they did date for a while and all that good stuff. But I remember that when you and I first had the conversation and I told you, you came up in a reading, not just for her, but for me.
Right.
You believe, there's no way that there wasn't a connection there.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm spiritual as well, and I believe that when you're connected to somebody through the soul, they're meant to be. It's almost destiny or manifest destiny that you're there to meet that person at that specific time.
Right. Okay. And you guys did. And thank you. Thank you so much. They're loving love me tonight. Thank you, Jalissa.
The makeup on point.
I tried. But thank you. But even based on all that, it eventually led to you and your connection with her, kind of severing.
Right.
For a little while.
Right. And
during that time, something really big happened to you.
Yes.
So you want to tell me a little bit about what occurred to you?
I started straying away from a path that I was supposed to be on. I'm a chef. And I started to lose that value and started to get into other things like riding motorcycles and being in a biker club. And eventually one time I went upstate and I had a really bad motorcycle accident to the point where I feel like I met the afterlife briefly. Mm-hmm. So basically I was riding up a hill and there was an oil spill on the top of the hill that I didn't see, and I had oil on my boot. And when I went to downshift, basically my foot slipped and touched the ground and my leg snapped and my bone was exposed, and it It was rough. After that, I crashed into a car. I flipped and tumbled for like, I would say like 80 feet. And I ended up breaking my hip, a rib. Um, and I had all these lacerations, scars all over my body, and I was bleeding. Crazy is I'm such a positive person that even when I'm bleeding out, I was just making jokes and trying to stay positive. But eventually, the ambulance didn't come for like 40 minutes, and my leg was exposed, and I was just bleeding out. And eventually, when they came, I was telling them I was gonna pass out, and while I'm going under or passing out, I started to see like light, and in this light led to nothingness. And basically I felt as if I was completely gone, and I realized that when I did go into that state or the afterlife, I realized I thought there was nothing. There was nothing. I didn't see anybody. I was scared. Uh, I still had consciousness of myself. I knew what was going on. The only thing was I didn't see anybody, and that was the scariest thing about it. And I thought I was going to be alone in the afterlife for eternity. Eventually, I got back up in the ambulance after they pumped me up with all these, injections just to keep me awake and just to keep the pain away. But I kept slipping under, and I kept getting that same view. It would be light, and then complete darkness and emptiness, and then light, and I would come back to, and eventually I got put into a helicopter, and I was saved. But I did feel like I got a touch of what it was to die almost, and it was the scariest thing in my life.
Right. Well, the thing is too is that it is believed that when you do pass, you are greeted
Yes.
by those from the other side.
Yes.
So this was definitely not your time.
Right. Absolutely.
It was not your time.
Prior, my grandmother had passed, and I always say that I feel like she pushed me back. Like you're not supposed to be here yet, and it happened. It happened twice, but yeah, there's been signs where I know she's still around, but she definitely had pushed me back into my body and told me that I wasn't supposed to go to that yet. I wasn't supposed to go to the afterlife yet.
Right. So when you said you felt alone, did you feel fear? That's what I was gonna say.
Absolutely.
Did you feel like fear? Like
Absolutely.
this is it, and I'm gonna be here by myself, and now what?
Yeah. I literally thought I felt fear at its like primal form. I didn't want to die, and I knew that's where I was going. Like I still had, like I said, I still had consciousness. It was very weird. I never experienced anything like it. I knew I wasn't in my body, but I still had thought, and I still had emotion, and there was fear, genuine fear, that I was gonna be alone for the rest of whatever
Eternity.
the afterlife would be.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a genuine fear. Absolutely.
Can you say, like, you said nothingness, but was it like brightness, and then that was it? Like, do you remember, like, if there's anything?
It was literally light, but it was going into it was light, and then it became nothingness. And when I say nothingness, it was dark, and I felt like I was in almost like a purgatory, and as bad as it might seem, but I felt like I was in a plateau of literal darkness, and myself as just a ball of energy and emotion. And I did, like I said, I did feel fear. Absolutely. That was it. I felt like since this was it, there's nothing, and I wanted to live. I knew that I wasn't there, but I did want to live, and I was genuinely scared. But yes, nothingness is literally black, and that's what I saw. I saw light. I felt welcoming almost, and then to black, which was the complete opposite, was scary.
Yeah. because it sounds like this is what it kind of looks like, but you're not allowed here right now.
Right.
So let's just show him a little bit of light and then turn it off because he's got to go back.
Right. 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 I seen the beauty of it, and then I seen, the in between probably coming back into my body. That's what it was. But yeah, that in between phase is not it. It was scary.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. Even though I was conscious that I just got into an accident, but it was still a genuine fear, like I said.
So my question is so everything that you've experienced up until that point, what happened after that? Did you feel did it change your mindset? Like, what was your outlook after having something like that happen to you?
So, when I came to, I came to mostly in the helicopter going to the hospital. But I was relieved to the point where I was like, I guess they drugged me up as well so much that I was like, oh, don't worry about it. You could just drop me home. I didn't even think about it. I was just, making jokes and, obviously I was in pain, especially after my first surgery. But I was so more positive and happy and genuinely happy to be alive that I didn't care what I was going through. I knew that for a long time I wasn't going to be able to walk. The bad thing was my right hip was broken and my left leg was broken. So regardless, I couldn't even walk on both legs. So I was in a wheelchair for a while. But that didn't stop me. I was just the most positive, happy person just to be alive. I realized that life is just precious, Mm-hmm. That's one thing, life is so precious and people take it for advantage a lot until you go through something.
Yeah.
For granted, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I understood.
But yeah, for granted a lot. And, when you go through something so traumatic, you start realizing that life is beautiful, everything about it, the bad and the good, as long as you're still here with people. And it was just an amazing experience and a bad experience at the same time.
Right. I think one of the things about your story too, when I heard about it, was that how you were on the ground and, you realized at the moment, you were in a pool of blood and it was your own blood.
Yep.
But at the same time, what stood out to me with your story was you mentioned oh, well, they didn't come get me for 40 minutes.
Yes.
But wasn't there something there where there was somebody who was off from work that was an EMT?
Yes. And yes, that's one thing that I did not say. So I literally was saved by this. So the next door neighbor happened to be an off-duty EMT, and yeah. I was so lucky.
What?
Yes. Yeah. How what is the chances?
Right. What are the chances of something like that?
Right. So after I got into the accident, the guy came and already was stripping off my shirt to tie my leg, and he was talking to me and telling me that he has people coming, and it was a real blessing because I was
mm-hmm.
how did they bless me with this opportunity to be saved like this?
Yeah. Because you still got shit to do, Matt.
Absolutely.
That's why.
Yep.
But that's which is why I always believe where a lot of times, people will say, oh, it was coincidence. But when it comes to things that are life-changing, life-saving, like that, mm-hmm. even that little thing where, well, we call the ambulance, but they're not going to be here for a while. And what do we do? And then right. It just so happens the neighbor.
Right.
It happens to be home from work that day. Yep. He actually had off that day.
Yep.
And he's an EMT and he was able to attend to you until they arrived.
Right.
That, to me, that's... if you're not a believer, I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely.
I really don't.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence anymore.
It's
I don't.
It's amazing. And it just so happens that happened at your friend's house the day that guy was off. Everything was aligned. But I do feel that all this happened to you for a reason, but more so, too, to, open your eyes up.
Yes.
As far as you and as far as, your life.
Yes.
And what it is that you want to do now.
Right. I mean, before the accident, I was trickling down this path. just being around the wrong people. I wouldn't have been into a motorcycle gang, or they say club, but it's a motorcycle gang. I wouldn't have been into a motorcycle gang if it wasn't for, if I was just staying on my path of just becoming a chef like I wanted to, or just genuinely caring about my craft and passion, I wouldn't have been there, and it wouldn't have led me to that accident. But instead, some people learn the hard way, and you get the hard outcomes.
Yeah. So how did how did it change your mindset then?
What, before the accident?
Like after the accident.
Okay.
Like after that, what was your mindset after you experienced all that?
Oh, well,
as far as futuristically, as far as your goals, like
at a point, honestly, my first surgery, they told me that there was a 50-50 chance that they would have had to amputate my leg. That was one. Which was very scary, because when I woke up from the surgery, I threw the blanket off and I saw my leg, and I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you.
So you didn't even know what was going on. You didn't know what you were going to see under that blanket.
Yeah, so I ripped the blanket off and my leg was still there in this crazy contraption, but my leg was still there. So
wow.
I was blessed. And then after that, my goal was to walk, because they told me that I wasn't going to be walking for at least a year. And I did that shit in 7 months. Excuse my language. But I did that in 7 months. So they told me I wasn't gonna walk for a year, maybe even more. Especially with my hip and my leg, they were both messed up at the same time. I had 5 surgeries. And the bad thing was, when I was starting to walk, I ended up falling down the stairs and had to get a 5th surgery. That 5th surgery wasn't supposed to happen. But I was just determined just to get back on my feet so that I could start up again. And I did. And right after that, when I felt comfortable, I went back to working in the kitchen again. And I started cooking. And I started doing during this COVID stuff, I've done a lot. I was cooking for charity. I was doing charity work.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
I was delivering food to hospitals, precincts, homeless shelters, and etc. And I just started working on my craft, and that's what I was meant to do.
Right. So is this still your thing?
Absolutely.
Doing the cooking.
It's still my thing. Yes, absolutely.
So then, okay, so basically it helped. You kind of went off path.
Yep.
And they gave you messages. Like you were getting signs and whatever else,
yep.
But then you just got off your path.
Right.
And they went hard on you.
Yes.
Because this is what I always say. They go hard. Especially, and look, you're still here because they went hard on you because they want you to understand what your purpose is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So then they put you back on track. And that was on what day?
That was on August 16th, 2018.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And so let's just fast forward a little bit to this year.
Yes.
To this year. So you got back on track, you were doing your thing, and then what happened?
So before COVID happened,
and before that happened,
I just got an executive chef position at a Louisiana style kitchen in Bed-Stuy, and I was doing great. I was making the menus. I was switching up the restaurant around, new staff, and everything was starting to work out well until COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, I started becoming a little more depressed because I couldn't go out and I couldn't work anymore. And, I started doing things I wasn't supposed to. And then eventually, so fast forward to August 16th, 2020.
2 years to the day.
2 years to the same exact day that I got into my motorcycle accident. I had gotten into a car accident. Coming back from a party with my best friend. The same exact day, that's what made it so significant and freaky. Because we were driving back from this party, and the car in front of us got cut off by a taxi. And the car in front of us slammed into the taxi, and we ended up slamming into that car. And then another car hit us from behind. During that time, I was in the back seat, and I seen when it was going to happen, but I couldn't brace on time. And when we hit, I hit my face. I had glasses on, and I hit my face on the seat, and the glass is shattered in my face. That left me with a scar here, and my left eye I can't see well out of anymore. All I see is just giant blur. Then when the car hit us from the back, basically I flew and hit my face again on the dashboard of the vehicle. So my whole face was smashed up. I had cuts all over my face, and I didn't know how bad it was until I tried to move, because I had blood all over my face. I couldn't even see. At that time, I wasn't scared about death or anything along those lines, nor did I get close to death. But I was so upset that it happened. It was the same exact day. I figured that out 2 days after. But I was so upset that it happened that I just couldn't talk to anybody. I actually couldn't move out of the car because, come to find out, my right hip got, basically the cartilage in my hip got torn, and I tore my rotator cuff. So I couldn't physically push myself out of the car, and the ambulance had to come and rip me out of the car, and I had to go to the hospital again. And I'm still undergoing physical therapy, and I had 2 surgeries since, so that's 7 surgeries in the past 2 years.
In 2 years, y'all. And I'm always talking about, like, get your lives before they go hard. And they're going hard.
Right.
Like, really hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They definitely went hard on me. I had things going well for me. Me and my partner at the time were, like I said, we're donating food, and we were cooking and selling plates, and we had a fallout, and that led me to not want to cook anymore. Again.
Because that happened before. I remember.
Yes, I lost my passion, and yep, that happened before, and this happened this time, and of course I get into an accident, and it's always a punch in the face for me. There's no like, let me give it to him easier. There's always like, you're gonna go through some shit. That's basically what it is.
I think it has a lot to do though with signs, because I know you get signs. I know you have. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yes.
These dreams. You be having some like lucid dreams.
Yes. I can control my dreams. As well as my dreams are cartoon-like, to the point where it's insane. I could write movies or scripts about my dreams. But I could fully control my dreams when I'm in them. I've also astral projected plenty of times. I'll say about like 3 or 4 times. I feel like my mind is really strong, and I do have dreams, but some dreams I have with messages, whether it's future tense, I'm going to see something about a family member or myself, or I get messages with my grandmother. She pops up in my dreams and tells me something significant that I'm gonna find out later on. So my dreams, I get a lot of signs in my dreams.
So it's like premonition.
Yes, almost.
So they're giving you information. They try to give you messages.
And I don't follow them.
And she does not follow y'all.
I do not follow them.
I don't understand. Are you following now though?
Yes, I am. I learned my lesson. After 2, I'm done. After 2, I'm done.
Because I just know that the first time it happened, I was like really shocked, first of all. And I was like, what? Like, and then I went to see you.
Yes.
And I hadn't seen you for a little while.
Yeah. Maybe like 6 months, right? Just
something like
maybe
that.
Like that.
6 months to like a year. In between there. I hadn't seen you. I went to see you. I think I gave you a reading too.
Yes.
Over there.
Yes.
And then when the second one happened, I remember Jay telling me like, this guy, like that was her whole thing, this guy. And I was like, what? And she tells me like that you were in another accident.
Yes.
And I'm just like, what now? Like, are they okay? Is everybody okay? Like, and the first thing that I said was like, you gotta tell him he never listens, and that's why they're going hard. And I'm like doing all this, and then Jade's like, well, it just happened today, so I don't think we should pounce on him just yet. And I was like, I'm gonna give him a week, and I'm pouncing.
Yeah, like I never learn. I'm hard headed. That's my problem.
It's like, it's like this thing where because even then, before the first accident, you kept speaking about like, your cooking and stuff and all that. And I even came out with a service, not that we can do it now, but before COVID too, where remember we created like a
tacos and readings,
right? Like
yes.
Like a girls' night.
Yep.
Where I would go over to your house with Matt, and he would make like all these tacos. So I would go over and give readings, and he would make the food. So you had like somebody giving you readings, and you have a chef. You don't have to worry about anything. And we came out with this idea, and then the COVID happened.
Unfortunately.
So, I don't know what's gonna happen later, but I don't know. Maybe that's the 2022, the way that we're going.
Yeah, I don't know about 2021, but we could do that 2022.
But it was things like that too, where I kept speaking to you about like, oh well, what about this and what about that? And I remember when you lost it, like, oh, I don't think that's supposed to be what I'm supposed to be doing now because it's just not working out. And you had like a little impatience with it.
Yes.
There was some impatience. Thank you. I thought it was a good idea too.
Me too.
But then like you see all these things happen, and it's like, it was just putting him back on, because y'all don't understand the food that this gentleman can make. I do, because I have him cook a couple of times, a few times, because it's so good. So I'm just saying, we'll work on that when we're allowed back out.
Right.
But it's like, it was part of his gift, but I knew that there was still like, there was like that whole connection with spirit with you from like when I first met you.
Yes.
And I just felt like every time something happened, it was them trying to put you back on track. Like, what are you not understanding?
Right.
Yep. What is it? Why are you not understanding this?
Right. It wasn't a nudge. It was more like a kick. So
it's like, yeah. And then the whole astral traveling.
Yes.
Because you've mentioned it. You're mentioning it now.
Yes.
But I just remember too, like when you first started like sharing those dreams with me, I was like, they're like really, really trying to connect with you.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, you gotta like really, are you writing these down? Like,
oh yeah, I have a dream journal. It's in my notes. I have a lot of obscure, weird dreams that I have in my notes. But I keep coming back to them because there's always something in there.
Right, which is my next question. Like, do you reflect? Do you go when you read? Because a lot of times when people tell me that they have these kinds of, that they have a lot of dreams, or I remember this, I remember my dreams. I struggle to like remember. I have to ask for them to help me remember my dreams. Yep. But for you, it's always been very easy.
Yeah, I literally wake up and I go straight into typing. Even if I'm delirious still from sleep, I go right into writing it because it stays in my head for like the first 1 or 2 minutes. After that, it starts fading, and that's why I like writing them down. So I could come back and remind myself why I wrote it down. Because, for example, this is kind of on a minuscule level, but I had a dream about my teeth falling out.
Right.
And I ended up going to my tattoo shop because I'm really good friends with my tattoo artist. And I told him, I was like, yo, dude, I had this dream. It was really weird. My teeth fell out, and I know what that means. It's a sign of death. And he was like, wow, that's weird. You got to be careful. And the next day, his iguana that he had for only 3 years died. And yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, and it was just weird that I came to him about it. I didn't know why I went to him about it. I just had to tell him about it. And his iguana had passed the next day. And I was like, holy shit. Maybe I do have this gift of some type of premonitions. But it's not easy because they're so metaphorical, and I have to dig deep into my dreams to find out what it really means. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I do have these type of dreams.
Because some people believe in that, like the teeth fall out, it means death.
Yes.
Some people believe like the teeth fell out, it just means like there's a new beginning on the horizon, like something new is about to occur.
Right.
It's not always so much death, but Latino people, we believe that it's death.
Right. Right. Right.
And we get that from like our grandparents and all that. Because they always used to be like, oh, you dream what? You dreamt what? You know what that means? Like they always have an idea.
Right.
As far as what it means.
Right. It's that Hispanic superstition. And most of the time they're right. You know?
Did you ever speak about your dreams like with your grandmother when she was here? Did you ever like share with her?
You know what? No. I felt it was weird. I felt like after my grandmother had passed, that's when I started getting these dreams. But it's weird because it's passed down because my mom has these dreams. My mom has dreams that tell her things, and hers are way more on point. She actually guessed my her boyfriend's bank account number. She was like, "Oh, I got this number in my dream," and she told him. He was like, "That's my bank account number." So very weird, but she has these dreams and mostly with numbers, and the numbers are very significant. She won like a while back. She won like $5,000 in the lottery because of her dream.
What?
Yes.
They gave her the numbers?
Yes, they gave her the numbers.
Yo.
So they gave her the numbers. So I guess it's passed down to me. I don't get numbers. I get actual words and signs.
You see me? Need some money, Matt. We need some money over here.
Listen, if I win the lottery, we all win the lottery.
You heard it here, right? Because I'm saving this. It's going up on my YouTube channel that I just created today, y'all. It's going up there. So how do you feel now as far as, your relationship with spirit?
Now I feel stronger than ever, to be honest. Before, I don't really like explaining this, but I did have some bad habits that I ended up kicking in the past. I used to drink a lot. I still smoke cigarettes. That's my truly only bad habit that I stay away from. But I've kicked a lot of habits, and from then I've been getting more signs, and I've been more fluent in lucid dreaming, and I've been just a better person in general. Compassionate, human. That's like the most important thing for me. But I have grown. I've grown into it. I was before, but now it's intensified. Sort of say. I definitely grew. Definitely.
Right. Well, I feel like you've grown.
Thank you.
I feel that you're finally back in the mindset of actually making moves for yourself as far as with your chef skills.
Yes.
Because I'm telling y'all.
This food is on point.
I feel he should be like doing more with it, but we're getting there.
Yes.
A couple of things that
Slowly
he's working on.
Yes.
That we'll announce shortly when we get off this live.
Absolutely.
How do you feel now though? Like, okay, you've experienced all this, you've gone through stuff twice, you feel like you're on the right track. If you had to give advice to someone that was in your shoes before all this, what would you say to them? Like, what would be your thoughts on that?
As bad as it might sound, make mistakes. Making mistakes to me was very important, because if I didn't make those mistakes, because I was very hard-headed, I did not want to listen to anybody. I made a lot of mistakes that I learned from, and I could give that advice to somebody now, what not to do or how to do certain things. Because I have experienced a lot of stuff in my life. But it's not, if you go through your life without mistakes, then there's nothing to change. You know? And I think that's very important. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. Because once you learn about the failure, it's an easier road to success, and it builds your character. Right. That's
probably too, it's because you're learning.
Yes.
You're learning.
Yes.
And it's part of your growth, and you're evolving.
Right.
And without those errors, because there's so many people that they're afraid
Yes.
of their own choices. Like, I'm talking
Yes.
about day to day.
Yes.
They're like, I have to do this. Should I do it? Should I not? Like, they dwell on it
Right.
because they're so afraid of making the wrong mistake. But in reality, in all reality, there is no wrong decision, because even if it's wrong, you still learn from it.
Yes. Yes.
So, and if it's right, you know, it's, yes, you get that boost, like, yeah, I made that right choice.
Right.
But you're always going to have a choice after that.
Right. Right.
It's just going to keep going.
Yep. Yeah. There's always a left and a right turn. You know.
Yeah.
You're gonna pick one. You know.
Yeah, you're
So-
going to come to that fork in the road.
Right.
And you're
you
going to have
make
to
a
decide
decision.
which way am I going to go.
Yep.
And how long are you going to sit there?
Right.
And I know a lot of us do sit there.
Yes. Yes.
So I know you've been in that position, which is
Yes.
why they were like,
It's time to crank it up a
we're
notch.
going to have to crank it up because we're giving him signs, we're giving him messages, we're doing this, that, and the third. And he's just not listening.
Right.
He doesn't listen, this guy. So let's go a little harder.
Yep.
It's like, what the
Yep.
hell?
Yep. And I'm a person that's like all in or not in at all. So, you know, since I became not in at all, you know, they were like, let's give him a real life lesson so that he could become all in again, you know?
Yeah. I mean, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask now before we get off this live. I just needed to have Matt on here because I just cannot. I couldn't believe the first accident and then the second, and the fact that they were on the same day, exactly 2 years apart. I was like, what? Like, it was like, here we are 2 years later. Let's not make it as bad, but let's shake
Right.
him up a little bit.
Yep. Yep. And I definitely was shook. I'll give it that. I wasn't as positive as the first accident. That's another thing. There was
Depression? Or?
yes, I was depressed after, because I felt like instead of me bouncing back, this time I thought, why is it always me? You know, I felt like I was being pinpointed. And I, you know, now I feel better. But yeah, no, I felt pinpointed. I felt like my friends were in the accident. It's bad to say because I would never wish harm on my friends, but I was
Right.
like, my friends were in the same accident as me. Why am I the only one that got hurt? You know, why is it always me? What am I doing wrong in life that got me
Right.
into this position? You know, and that's where depression derived from. And I just sulked, and I was home, and then to be honest, I took a couple trips, you know, out of New York, because I feel like New York is very toxic, and sometimes you just gotta get away. But I took
little recharge.
yes, just a little. So I came back, and I feel like a brand new person. So
Wow. Well, I know he came up in here today, and I was like, man, this guy looking all thin.
yes,
Oh, a little glow going on.
yes, bike riding in sun.
Just got back from Cali. So I do have a question here from Sweetest Sin. Have your thoughts around death changed after your near-death experience?
Yes, absolutely. You know, not just being Hispanic, but you always get these stories about heaven and hell, you know, growing up, and Catholicism or being Christian, and you know, you think of the afterlife as this, you know, beautiful place that you get sent up with wings. And you know, when I got a touch of that, it was none of that. So that's also what made me more scared, you know, because I had this notion that I was gonna be, you know, praised and brung into heaven, or you know, which that's what you want to think you're going to, you know. But
It wasn't your time, though.
No, it wasn't my time. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. But yeah, you get it wasn't anything that I thought it was going to be, and that's what was the scary part. You know, it's the unknown, and then when you experience it, you're like, oh my God, I definitely didn't think it was going to be like this.
Right.
So yes, I definitely have different thoughts around death.
And are you afraid of death?
Not at all anymore.
But you were at one time.
I was at one time. If I die, I'm happy, to be honest. Not that I'm, you know, happy to die at any point, but I feel like not my life is fulfilled, but I feel like I've had a fulfilling life so far that if I ended up passing, I would be content with it. Not that I would be happy just to die, but no, I'm not afraid of death anymore. I think death is just a natural thing that happens to everybody, and you just gotta accept it at one point or another. You know.
We all transition.
Absolutely.
There's no getting away from it. So what's the point of being afraid of it?
Right. You know, there's it's gonna happen. It's bound to happen eventually. You know.
Yeah, I think it's more so people afraid
Of
of
how
dying. Right, of how it
they
happens.
die. Yes.
How it happens. But it is believed that even the most tragic deaths, you know, like your soul hops out of your body.
Yep.
You don't actually really experience, you know, something really, really bad like
Right.
that. Like if it was like your time, you wouldn't have. Because I know you also mentioned that while when they came to get you and things like that, how you were going in and out, and you
Yes.
would only feel pain when you were like aware.
Yes.
But then you would like kind of like pass out and see light,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't feel anything.
Yes. Yeah. That was the thing. I think it was all a mind thing. You know, the pain. It was knowing that I'm back, and I was like, oh God, my leg, and then I felt the pain. But going back into that light, there was no pain. You know, and that's probably like the best, I guess, thing about the transition is there's no pain.
There's no pain.
There's no pain.
Right.
So that's yeah, that was good that you said that.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that's the belief
Mhm.
as far as that. Like that's the for as a spiritualist like me, because I'm not pushing my beliefs on anyone who doesn't believe in that. But for us, that is the belief. Like when it's something like really tragic, and the thing is too, it comes from when you have a reading or people have had readings, and you know how many people have you've seen interviews all over the place. Like when people decide like, oh, I want to ask. You know, were you in pain, were this and that. A lot of times, spirit from the other side is coming through saying, don't worry about me, I'm good. I didn't feel anything.
Right.
So this isn't something that's just like, you know, like we're just gossiping. Like, there's actually people that like study this, and that's how it, you know, it comes into play.
Yeah.
Or you have psychic mediums who actually connect with spirit on the other side, and they ask their guides, and they give them these messages, and there's books written on it. And, you know, some people don't believe in it, but I definitely do.
Yeah.
Which is why I have always plugged The Survival of the Soul, the book by Lisa Williams. Like, I've always plugged that book because it's the only book that I read that, for me, everything made sense. There was nothing in that book that I questioned. Like, I was like, oh, I think I just found, like the missing piece. Like, oh, I get it now. Okay, cool. And I used to be crazy scared of death.
Yeah.
Like I was scared of death. Like I would think about it. And growing up, when you know, I've spoken about this on my lives too. How, you know, I could hear spirit and they would call my name and like all types of things, and I would see things and like feel things, and I'm like, they're coming to get me. They're gonna kill me. You know, like this is all I could think of, and
Right.
I was so afraid of dying and being like in the dark with like demonic forces. Like these are things that I thought of as a kid. And now I'm just like, oh, well, if it happens, you know, like I'm okay.
Right.
I'm okay. And I've had dreams where I feel like I'm about to die in the dream, and I surrender. And in the past, I used to be like, oh my God, I don't want to die. And now it's just like, oh, okay.
All right.
Like I surrender, and then I wake up. They're like, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. Like, you would have thought, but no, it's not your time yet, you know.
Right.
But I surrendered to it because I'm no longer afraid of it. So I'm just throwing that in.
Yeah, and I mean, from like a scientifical perspective, humans are energy, which is the spirit, and energy never dies. It gets transferred. So regardless, I believe that you just get transferred to another vessel, you know, after death. That's my belief. Like she said, you know, I don't want to put any belief into anybody's thoughts. But I do believe that our energy gets transferred over to another vessel or body, or, you know, so to say, or something along those lines.
Yeah, like we transition, and that's why I believe in past lives. And there can be times that I do, like, I've done sound meditation. Like, I'll go to a sound bath. And I don't know what it is with sound baths, but I push them on here too. But it just changed the game for me because doing a sound bath, I saw things and I know it was like past life. Like, I mean, there's no other way to explain it, but I see things and I'm like, that was before. Like it just brings some kind of memories there from like the past.
Right. It's vivid, but you know it's you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know it's me. Like I know I was a man from Italy, yo. I lived in Italy. That's what I got at a sound bath that I went to, and I was like they're showing me all these things, and then all of a sudden, like when I look down, I see the guy, but then when I look down, I am the guy, and I'm just like, oh, this is me. Wow. What? I was a guy. Like that's how I left that sound bath, and I can't wait to do another one. But Amanda wants to know: do you believe in spirits who don't cross over and become a bit vampiric of other people's energy? Before you answer,
absolutely, go ahead.
I do believe in spirits that don't cross over, and I believe that's why they call them ghosts. But most of the time, like I just feel like a spirit is when they say they're like stuck here, it's because a lot of times they're not aware that they're dead. So we're the ghosts to them. And I do believe in actual people being like energy vampires, to be honest. I'm not even putting blame on spirit. Yeah, eventually we're like spirit, we're souls. But we do have people that suck the energy, the life out of you, and those are energy vampires. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I do believe in spirits that don't cross over. Sometimes you get glimpses, like you'll see them pop up somewhere, or you see like a little shadow there, and when you look, it's not there anymore. I believe those are the spirits that haven't crossed over. Yes, I do believe that spirits could be vampiric, and I do believe people can be as well. There are some people that you stay around them too long, and they're basically growing, and you're feeling more sluggish and depressed or nasty, and you pick up their energy, and they're just leeching. They're leeching off your good energy. I definitely believe that.
They do that. Yeah. They be the ones that be taking it all out of you.
Right.
You even have people around you that it starts to become very, very how do I say it? Like it just comes to light. Like you start sensing like who those energy vampires are in your life.
Yep.
So it's really like up to you to like cut that out.
Yeah, and I kind of noticed that eventually they leave. Those are the ones that they eventually leave by themselves. Those are the ones that are the parasitic. So.
And Jessica wants to know: do you live your life to the fullest every single day? YOLO.
Word. That's a fact. That's a big year. Yes, I do. I do plan to go skydiving very soon. Yes.
Hell no, you couldn't pay me. That's probably from a past life trauma experience. Not doing it, but go ahead.
I do want to go skydiving very soon. I want to do bungee jumping. I want to do everything that gives me the adrenaline to be like, yes, this is what I fiend for. Like those are just experiences that you could do just once. But, you got to live your life. That's about it. You got to live your life.
I'm good, y'all. I ain't living my life that crazy, like on that wild side. But I understand it. Yep. But I could understand it. I used to think about going in a hot air balloon a lot.
Oh, that's
like,
dope.
I want to get that. I want to have that experience. But then, I start thinking like,
big facts, by the way.
I'm afraid to like, to be up in the air like that, like in a basket, and because there are hot air balloon accidents. Not that I put that out there, me getting in one if something happens, but my fear of heights, because it's not just deep water, it's heights.
Right.
I got a lot of things that I'm like, where does this come from?
Yep.
Which is also kind of like weird because when I was a kid, I had no issues going on like roller coasters, anything that has to do like crazy height. Me and my brother would be like, yo, let's go. We would run and get on these rides. Now I'm like, I'm not going on that. You go. I'm gonna wait for you here.
You know what? I
just lost it.
I was reading a psychologist's point of view about heights. It's not really that you're afraid of heights, you're afraid of falling. That's from a psychologist's point of view. Because why are you afraid of being up? you're more afraid about falling
dropping.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Right. That's basically it. Yeah.
That's true. But you see, I always felt like my fear, and I've said this too, like my fear of deep water. I said I must have fallen off like a cliff or something into like deep water in a past life. Like that's how I put two and two together. Cause I'm like, where does this come from exactly? Because I don't.
That's a weird thing. You know?
I don't get it. Life memory coming in a bit at different ages. Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like there's a lot of that past life regression, like past life lessons too, like karmic things that you carry that you didn't take care of in a past life, and it comes back, keeps showing up here. And some of us work through it, and some of us are scared to like work through it. Never thought of it like nobody thought of it like that.
See?
Look at
when
that.
I read that, I was like, huh, you know what? That kind of sounds legit. Yeah.
Look at that. That sounds legit. So I'm scared to fall. I can't even go to the mall.
Oh, and look down?
And look over, like, from the top. I just be like, yo, this is me, like, looking like...
Let me get out of here.
And even inside, like, like a glass elevator, I'd be like, I don't know why. See what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah,
I don't get it.
I think it's the fear of falling. I don't think it's the fear of heights. Because
So
wait, so
weird.
let me ask you a question. Could you look up at a mountain?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's heights.
True.
You
And
know?
when I get on an airplane, I'm like, I'm not scared to look out the window.
Right. Wait, so how you feel safe on a plane?
I don't know. I think it's because I feel like I'm enclosed. Like I think it's probably like falling without anything to hold on to, or being in confinement.
Right.
But if I'm too much in confinement, I feel claustrophobic. There's a whole mess. Look, my cousin's like, it must run in the family. I actually experience vertigo, Amanda. I actually get vertigo from time to time. Not always, but from time to time. I'm definitely gonna give his IG. We're gonna give his information.
Yes.
We got y'all. Must run in the family. I feel catastrophic. My cousin from Cali. I'm just saying. So, but thank you, Chef Matt,
Of course.
for
Thank
coming
you.
on
Thank you
here
for
and
bringing
doing the second soul session with me.
Yes.
I have no idea who my next guest is gonna be. I haven't worked that far ahead this time, but I will announce it for the next one.
Yes.
I'll be here on Monday on Café con Señor. Thank you guys for hopping on here. Thank you again for sharing your story.
Of course. No, it was,
I think
it was a pleasure.
It was pretty interesting and pretty eye-opening, y'all. When they go hard, they go hard. Not just saying it.
Yep. Take it from me. So
They don't play around. They
No
do not
problem.
play around. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Can I say some
Yeah.
some words?
You
to
can
end it off?
promo, tell them where to find you, and I will put it in my stories anyway, but
Okay. I don't know if anybody is interested, but my business is the THC business. But we are having coquito. I'm doing THC coquito. I'm doing a pumpkin spice coquito, and I'm doing a parcha coquito. Actually today. So I will be promoting that. Our business Instagram is smashed SMASHED_NYC. You'll see it's like a picture of the Hulk. But we do weed ice cream. That's what we specialize in. So we do THC ice cream. We do have brownies, cookies, brookies. We have gummies, and we're working on other stuff. We're actually working on a instant coffee. That's gonna be soon. So a THC instant coffee. So you get a little up and you get a little down at the same time. So.
Café con Sen will not be drinking that coffee because
Don't drink that cafe.
I won't know what the hell I'm saying up on here, so it's definitely not for me. But there are people out there that enjoy this.
Yes,
So,
there are. Yes,
whatever.
there's a whole base.
They want to know if you ship.
Oh.
People want shipment
Dependent-
to Cali.
Oh, she's in Cali?
She's in Cali.
Yeah, you should have told me. I was just in Cali.
She didn't know.
We you know what? We'll work on that. I'll definitely let you know. You know what? Like I said, follow the Instagram smashed_NYC.
That they're just bringing back up
We're
because
just
their
bringing
last
back up.
post was like in June, but
yeah, we were on hiatus.
all this stuff happened, so they're getting it back.
Oh,
back
I
up
was
again.
down. I was in Redondo Beach when I just went. But yeah, like I said, send me a direct message, and I'll let you know if we could distribute it over there in Cali or wherever you guys want. If you guys are interested.
So I'll put that up on my stories for Chef Matt here, and hopefully one day we will get to girls' night with tacos and meetings.
Oh yeah.
Once the COVID gives us a break.
Right.
So let's see, because this bitch ain't still her welcome already. She was never welcome to begin
Right.
with, and she's still here.
Right. I'm trying to stay COVID free, so
We all trying to stay COVID
Right.
free. But all right, guys. So, guys, have an amazing evening. Thank you again for coming on here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Absolutely.
About Café con Sin, about Soul Sessions with Sin.
That's right.
All that good stuff. We got
That's
so much
right.
great things coming up. Cafecito collection, y'all, out now at RBR Cosmetics. The link is in my bio. I have cleaned up my bio, y'all. Just go to my link tree. It's all there. Third Eye Mind, Season 2, the season finale, Episode 6. The episode on dreams is out now, too, on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon Music. Check it out. Leave a review. Just let us know what you thought. We put so much work into that podcast. So, thank you guys again. I'll see you guys on Monday for Café con Sin.
That's right.
You guys enjoy your weekend.
Later, guys. It's a pleasure.